Morning YouTube, Dustin with Moldings here. Wanted to go over the difference this morning of a 5-head molder, which is the bottom, right, left, top, bottom cutter head configuration, versus a 6-head, which is a bottom, right, left, top, top, bottom. So there's some differences between the two that can make a big difference actually. So on a 5-head molder you only have one top head, which means that if anything you want to profile across its full size and width, you have to have a knife that's capable of doing that. And so I'm going to swing over here to these heads. So say I want to make that exterior door jamb, I have to have a knife that covers the full width of that profile, and that knife is fairly expensive. I did a couple real quick. So let's just say that knife right there, that's, if I had to order it brand new, that's $450. So that one knife basically now is the only thing it can do because it's set. So with a 5-head, you only have that choice. You have to have a specific knife or cutter head made for that type of profile, or you can't run it on the molder in one pass. So with a 6-head, being that we have two top heads, so you've got your first top head and your second top head, we can now change, in this case, of doing the same profile. I can put this spiral head on one of the top heads and this rebating or rabbiting cutter on the second top head and create that profile. Of which case, if you look, I've already got those two heads. They're multi-purpose. So you can use your different cutter heads in different orientations and get that setup instead of using that knife alone, which has no purpose besides that type of cut. You can use those two heads and create that, but then you have those two heads to do other items with. So that's one of the benefits of the 6-head molder over the 5, is it gives you a lot more versatility. Another one in versatility goes into the cost of knives and such. And say we're doing like baseboards or casings. So let's look at this one right here. So this casing obviously has got a fairly detailed profile set on it right there on the front edge. With a 5-head, you have to have a knife that goes all the way out and across this. And then if you don't buy a knife that's big enough, and when you get an order for this to say be a skirt board instead of a casing, now you have to have another knife that goes all the way across, and then you've got two knives now. So with the 6-head, I can get a knife that only covers the profile area here, and then you would flare up this back end and then have the, let me see if I can actually get one of these heads. Oh, here's a good one. So say I want to get that profile, and actually this is the right one, I think. Yeah, so if we look at this, see how that head, that knife only covers just that little bit? Then this cutter head takes care of the flat, which means you can have any width you want. So the benefit of that one is you can have smaller knives to create a library where right here I'm just kind of doing a base of 1 3/4 inches, which is a minimum size of knife for these types of heads in width. it's going to cost you $120 instead of making knives that are all full size to go out and do big baseboards and such. You can see right now there's quite a difference in the knife price, but with the added of having to only do the profiled section on just either the front or the back head, you can then have a big straight head to take care of the whole flat of the base or the case. That will, in the end, it'll save you quite a bit of money in just knives. So now I did just a quick web search. I found there's a company, they import from Taiwan. These are obviously light duty, not super big, super heavy, big horsepowers, etc. These are like an entry level 5-head and 6-head moulder. But if you look, there's only about a $3,000 difference on this moulder, on the Taiwan model molders. Once you get into the bigger ones, obviously that price is not going to be correct. That's when you'd want to talk to your dealer and see what they've got and what they can offer. But you can see there's only a $3,000 difference between those two. How many sets of knives are you going to buy between the small ones and the big one, and all of a sudden you've got that whole extra head paid for? So here is one of the others that I did this yesterday. So I had to make this old Victorian style casing. Well, the knife itself is not big enough to cover the whole thing, and because of the 6 heads, I could adjust how wide this piece is without having to buy another knife. So what we end up with, and I'll just go through these heads just so that you guys can see it. So there is the right side head, and I've got, this is obviously the insert style. It's a straight knife, and then here is a 45-degree angle. So that one is going to cut that right side right there. Then I have a mirror image of it right here, which is going to cut the left side. Then here is a straight knife insert, 9 inches wide. That's going to surface across the width of it. And then the profile head here, I hope this doesn't shine out on you. You can see that the profile knife is back there, but the profile knife isn't tight against the back. I've actually got a spacer on it because I needed to bring the knife out away from the fence because of this added distance. This knife was not originally designed to be on something this wide. It was a much smaller piece, but because of the 6 heads, I can put that anywhere on the shaft and get it where it's lining up to what I need for the client. So the other benefit of the 6 heads is, say you've got to go down in thickness quite a ways. So say you're doing like a doorstop or something like that where it's like 3/8 of an inch thick. You can take a lot more material off with these molders, the 6 heads, than you can with a 5 head. So if I was going down to 3/8, obviously if I'm starting with 4/4 material at 15/16, the 5 head molder has a trouble taking off that much material and giving a good finish because you only have one top head. So this one has 2 bottom heads, so obviously the bottom will get a nice finish, but the top, you're hogging off all that material. It may not give a good finish. With this one, I can hog with the first bottom and the first top and then take off like 20 thousandths on the last top head and the last bottom as standard. So you can hog a lot of material as long as your dust collection can keep up. You can hog a lot of material on 2 heads and then have 2 heads do your good finish. So that's kind of some of the benefits of a 6 head molder here versus the 5 head molder here. All right, have a good day.